Konnichiwa! I'm Alex with Lexco Moto Gymkhana. Today I have a super important video for you. This is the first technique video of my level 2 series. I'm finally going to get into it. And we're going to start off with one of the biggest things about Moto Gymkhana. I call it the other secret of Moto Gymkhana. That first secret I shared with you in level 1, that was just to get you moving, kind of to get you started. Fun, easy way to do it. This one is much more important. Now, this secret has everything to do with how we steer the motorcycle. If you are from the United States especially, here we are taught that there are two ways that we steer a motorcycle when you're on the road. Okay? Number one, if you're going slower speeds in a parking lot, you're using direct steering. This is when we point the handlebars and the front wheel in the direction we want to go, and our bike goes that way. The other way that we steer a motorcycle is kind of road speeds, right? 15 miles an hour and more. We're using counter steering. This is when we push forward on the hand grip in the direction we want to go. So if I want to go right, I'm going to push forward on that right hand grip. It initiates a lean, which now causes the motorcycle to track in a curve, and we turn to the right. There is another way, a third way of steering a motorcycle that we don't really know about here in the United States, but everyone in Japan knows about this. All right, it's not a secret in Japan, but it's a secret here. Okay, the first time I heard about this different way of steering the motorcycle was on a YouTube channel called Antipilote de Ligne Droite. I'm sorry if I said that terribly. It's a French channel. I'm terrible at French. The guy who runs that channel, his name is Clement. Very friendly, nice guy. I've chatted with him several times. Always willing to share information. Check out his YouTube channel. It's a good one. Okay. But later on, I learned even more about this way of steering the motorcycle from another YouTube channel run by a guy called Mr. Kintaro. I call him Kintaro-san. He is a Japanese motorcycle instructor, great rider, and great teacher. And I compiled a playlist in my playlist section. Check it out. It's called Mr. Kintaro's Aim for Higher Safety. I put them in an order that I thought was appropriate, and I did that for you guys. If you want to learn more about this style of riding, of steering the motorcycle, go check out all his videos. I put them in order for you. It's going to take you a while because there's quite a few videos. Totally worth it, though. Okay, so Mr. Kintaro. So, enough about where I learned all this stuff. Okay, what is this secret called? This secret way of steering a motorcycle is called self-steering. What it is you steer the motorcycle with the rear wheel. Very different than what we're taught here in the United States especially. Here we're taught that we steer a motorcycle with the front wheel. Everything's handlebar inputs. Okay. In Japan, they know that that's not the only way to steer a motorcycle. You steer with the rear wheel. Okay. And self-steering is this amazing thing because once you learn how to steer with the rear wheel, the front wheel and the handlebars follow what you're doing with the rear wheel. So if I start self-steering to the right, the handlebars automatically turn in direct steering to the right. And all you have to do is your hands and arms just kind of have to follow the handlebars and flow with them. It's this awesome, effortless way to steer a motorcycle. Now, how exactly does this work? How do you steer with the rear wheel? We do it by putting in inputs into our foot pegs, okay, into the tank of the motorcycle with our knees, and by shifting our body weight with our butt on the seat. Okay, we're using a combination of all these things. Okay, it might not make sense to you now. I recorded some videos of me doing some demonstrations so that it'll make a little bit more sense. All right, let's go to the footage. Hit it! All right, so here we have Exhibit A. I want you to try this out. Go to a nice clean parking lot with no cars around. Stand up on the foot pegs and shift the weight side to side. If you're a dirt bike rider, this makes a lot of sense because this is one of the ways that you steer a dirt bike. Let's go ahead and watch that again in slow motion. I want you to notice how every time that I shift side to side, the front wheel and the handlebars follow. I'm not steering with my hands here. I'm just steering by shifting my weight on the foot pegs. Here we have Exhibit B. Our lovely assistant here is putting a foam roller right between his legs and using his knees and inner thighs to twist. Notice how it's pointing in the direction I'm twisting. This is the exact same thing I'm going to do on the gas tank of my motorcycle. And here we have Exhibit C. Now I'm seated on the bike, left hand up in the air, right hand keeping a steady throttle. I'm not steering with my hands at all, just twisting my knees and with my inner thighs to manipulate the direction of the bike. And just like before, the front wheel follows. The trick is to find a good combination of using foot peg pressure and twisting of the knees to steer the bike. And we're back. All right, riders, I hope that makes a little bit more sense to you now. In the next video after this, I'm going to go more in depth and into what I'm doing with my lower body and how you can get this new way of steering down. I'm going to give you some exercises and some examples. All right, so before I finish up this video, I did want to clarify a few things. If you'll remember, in level 1, I talked about the flip-flop. Remember, we're always staying leaned over on one side or the other, and we do this by using the flip-flop maneuver. Flip-flop, flip-flop. In level 1, I told you that we use counter steering to flip-flop from side to side. Boink, boink, right? That wasn't entirely true. That's just a part of the truth, okay? Really, what I'm using to flip-flop is a little bit of counter steering, but mostly I'm using self-steering. Now that you guys are here, now we can talk about self-steering in the flip-flop. So use self-steering in conjunction with counter steering, little bit of counter steering, to get flip-flopped from one side to the other, okay? And the amount of counter steering that you're gonna use in conjunction with self-steering has to do with the size, geometry, and, weight of your motorcycle. If you've got a big, heavy motorcycle like my R1200 GS, along with the self-steering, I'm using a little bit of counter steering to kind of supplement because it's such a heavy bike, big bike, and it's got a little bit of an understeer. With my Ninja 300, I'm not really using almost any counter steering. It's almost all self-steering, and the handlebars kind of just move on their own because it's such a light bike and it's so flickable and nimble. Another thing that I want to clarify is that self-steering really works well at low speeds up until about 25 miles an hour. Once you start getting, 25 to 35 miles an hour, now I'm starting to really add counter steering along with the self-steering. And then anything faster than that, I switch to just counter steering. So really self-steering is like a moderate speed steering technique. Also, when I go out to the real world, I'm mostly using counter steering. And if I'm in a parking lot going low speed, I'm using a little bit of self-steering, a little bit of counter steering, and a little bit of direct steering. So self-steering is not something that I'm out there using all the time, out in the real world. It's mostly for Moto Gymkhana. I'm certainly not going to use it for, higher speeds like on the freeway and highway. It's mostly for parking lot speeds. But self-steering is a great way of learning how to steer in a relaxed way. It's a great way of learning how to move with the bike, becoming one with the bike. A lot of people have told me, how do you look so relaxed and how do you look so, unified with the bike? It's because of self-steering. So in the next video, I'm going to go into more in depth on what I'm doing with the lower body. After that, I'm going to make a video of how the upper body comes into play. So we got a lot to talk about. I'm super excited. This is an incredible technique straight from Japan. I'm excited just thinking about the next videos. All right. So until the next video, arigato and peace.